In this video, we're going to go over the tune "I'd Love to Teach the World to Sing" on the practice chanter, and we're going to be adding some embellishments, some grace notes, some doublings, some D throws. This is a great video if you're working on these movements anyway. It's a way to make some of these exercises fun for learning embellishments on the chanter. If you haven't gotten to the point where you're comfortable with grace notes or doublings, you know, this might be a little bit of a rush. You might want to check out my previous video where I go through this same tune without any grace notes. But in this tune, we're going to do those embellishments and grace notes. So I'll just play what we're going to go over in this video. Alright, so this tune, it's not a traditional tune. You don't have to beat yourself up if you switch around a grace note or two or add an extra doubling here or miss a doubling there. It's just about getting your fingers on the chanter holes and starting to enjoy playing some music. So we'll kind of walk through the version that I try to do at least most consistently, although there's some variability to what I do as well. So let's start from the beginning. So I like to add in grace notes to this first phase. Again, the first phase is just this phase. So I'm adding in a lower grace note here, or D grace note, and then I'm doing the E grace note after that. If you want to keep it simple, you could just do all G grace notes as well. So it sounds pretty similar. But if you want to challenge yourself and work on some different grace notes, then you could do it the way I'm doing as well. So what notes are those grace notes happening on? I'll slow it down so we can take a look at that. So those grace notes are happening every time we go down to low A in that first phase and every time we hit the D. So when we go from B to low A, that's when we do the grace note. And when we go from B to B to D, that's when we're doing the other grace note. So again, the grace note is lifting off, and then you go to the next note, and then that grace note finger comes back on. And same when we're going up to D, that grace note finger comes off, you go up to D, that grace note comes down. So I'm assuming in this video you've worked on grace notes a bit and you're ready to kind of jump into learning with a new tune. If grace notes are still challenging, again, check out my previous video where we don't have any grace notes. So I'm just going to play that first block slower here. And again. And that's a good place to pause the video and practice that. If it's too confusing with these D and E grace notes, just make them all G grace notes and get the feeling of that first block of this tune. Okay, so now we'll move on to the second block of this tune. So what's happening there? We still have our E strike that we did in our first video with this tune. Then we're going to do a grace note where we go up to F and a grace note down to E. And then we're going to do a doubling the next time we hit E. So back up to F. And there's our doubling. So our doubling is, we're on the F, we're going to E, we're doing an E doubling, or a F doubling, sorry, we're going, it's like a quick grace note to get to E, and then we're doing an extra like a E grace note or whatever you would call it. The E note's going up and down, so that middle finger is going up and down. So doublings are new to you, that could be a good place to stop, pause the video, work on some of those doubling movements, going from the F to the E. If you're good with doublings, then we'll just continue with that phrase. And I think that's what I was doing before. The strike, the grace note, then the doubling. Okay, so that's the second phase. If you're good with that, let's roll along. If not, you could pause the video. But let me just play what we have so far. And moving on. So we could just go up to high A and keep it simple, or we could do a high A doubling where our back thumb is actually striking that hole on the back of the chanter. Just to make it a little bit interesting, every time I go down from the F to the E in that phase, I'm doing, again, that grace note. So that first finger lifts up, the second finger is coming down at the same time, or a little bit before that first finger comes back on the chanter. Again, this could be a place to pause the video till you get this part. Good. And I will say the bottom hand, the first three fingers are on, the pinky's up. That's all it's doing the whole time during that phase. So let me play what we have so far, and then we just have one block left to finish off this tune. Alright, so that's the last block. And that block, when we hit the D, we're going to do a D throw. And D throw is actually one of my favorite embellishments. I don't know why, I've always liked D throw. So when we hit the D, we're going to go actually down to low G, D grace note, up to C, and then up to D, and that's a D throw. If D throws are new to you, it can be worth just practicing this for a while. Again, that's that D throw. If D throws are new to you, I'd really encourage you to pause the video and just work on that for a little bit. Break it down, have it be nice and slow. Don't worry about how it sounds necessarily. Just you know, get some time in practicing that. If it's too much for this tune, feel free to leave that D throw out for a while and just play the tune with the grace notes and doublings added in. Okay, so let's kind of play what we got so far, and then we'll focus a little bit on that last block, and then you're all set. So as you heard, I kind of mixed it a little bit. Sometimes I did a couple grace notes, sometimes a doubling. Again, it's if you're competing, if you're in a pipe band, you want to play exactly what that music says. This is just a bit of fun. It's about enjoying the chanter rather than dreading it. It's about finding your fingers on the holes. So if you're not doing it exactly as I do, if you're adding in extra doublings or doing a bit of a different grace note, that's okay. As long as you're getting that tune in place, you're getting some time, some repetition of your fingers finding those holes on your chanter. And that's what's going to keep you playing and getting bagpipe ready. Thanks, and keep up. Let me know in the comments below if this has been helpful, or if there's kind of a non-traditional tune that you want to learn how to play on the chanter. I'd love to tackle more tunes with you. Thanks.